All right, guys, our next guest needs very little introduction. He beat Anthony Pettis at UFC 185 very recently, and he is now the UFC lightweight champion. He is a UFC veteran, Rafael Dos Anjos. Welcome to Submission Radio. How are you?
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Everything's great. I'm doing good.
Good. Well, you know, you are the champ, so the pleasure is really all ours. It's an honor to have you on. You won the UFC lightweight title about a month and a half ago. We can only imagine how your life has changed. How has the last month and a half been for you since becoming the UFC champion?
Yeah, a lot of things changed, you know, and I've been really busy, you know, traveling and enjoy my family as much as I can, and try to heal my knee up. My knee still bother me, and I just had my nose surgery last week because I had a hard time to breathe before that. Now I can breathe better, and I'm just like focus on enjoy my family and heal my body, you know, because I fought a lot last year. I just want to make sure my body's gonna be 100% for the next challenger.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously very important. Now, Rafael, we just want to talk a little bit about your fight with Anthony first. You know, when the fight between you and Anthony Pettis was originally announced, people didn't give you much of a shot against Anthony. Was that one of your motivators going into the fight against Pettis?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm usually to be an underdog, you know. That's extra booster for me, actually. It is extra motivation. And when I got a call for this fight, man, I knew I was going to win. I've been on this game for a long time. And Pettis is a great opponent. He's a great fighter. But I think he never faced nobody like me. And I had more experience on the cage. I had more like a lifetime experience too. And I passed through like a lot of bad moments of my whole life. And for sure I knew it's going to be my time. But for the fact that I be underdog, I was okay with that. Actually, it helped me. You know, I always wanna go over it, and it's a extra motivation.
Yeah, I feel, Rafael, like you were the underdog in a lot of your recent fights against Benson Henderson, Cowboy Cerrone, and then against Anthony Pettis. You know, it's taken you 10 years of fighting, 17 fights in the UFC to finally get a title shot. You know, what did it feel like when you were finally in the octagon at UFC 185, standing across from Anthony Pettis? You know, it must have been a surreal experience standing on that big stage fighting for the title.
Yeah, man, especially because when I fought in Dallas like 6 years ago, and I was doing the first fight of the night when I got my first UFC win against Robert Emerson. And so then I was thinking, man, six years later, here I am, fight for the title on the main event, you know, and that was a great experience. But man, every time that I have big challenge, I fight better, you know, and I think I knew that against Pettis would not be different, and I knew I had a big challenge coming up. But man, I always like big challenge, you know. I know I'm gonna do good.
Yeah, now Anthony said that one of the punches in the first round hurt his eye. Just wondering, did you have any idea that he was hurt from the start of the fight? And did you feel at any points during the fight that you actually had an opportunity to finish him?
Yeah, like I was saying on my interviews before the fight. So Anthony Pettis, he was saying that he's gonna knock me out. He can beat me on my own game. Blah 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 blah. And then the people asking about it, I say everybody has a plan before get punched, and it was what happened, you know. And so I felt that I caught him with the left hand. But I was able to keep my pressure, you know. I was keeping showing heavy hands, kicks, and then I mixed it with my takedown. But Anthony, man, he's a dangerous opponent, you know. He handled it, you know. He handled it all the way to the fifth round. He was like still dangerous, but man, I thank God I was able to keep my pressure and keep my strategy.
Oh, yeah, he kept the pressure on the whole fight and really was a spectacular performance. You know, before your big streak, Rafael, and of course your big title win, you had some tough losses to guys that weren't necessarily at the top of the division, like Gleison Tibau and Clade Guida and Tyson Griffin. Around those times, did it ever seem like you may not become champion? Was it hard for you to continue?
Man, everything, I do in my life, I try to be the best. And so after the fight against Tibau, I was living in Brazil, and I wasn't training like I always training hard, I always do my best, but I didn't have good training partners. I didn't have a base to train. I had good coaches, which is still my coach, Roberto Gordo. He's my jiu-jitsu coach. I was training with him, but I didn't have a good stand-up coach. I didn't have a good wrestling coach, and good sparring partners too. And so after the fight against Tibau, I talked to my wife, with me and my family decided to move to California. So when I start training with Master Rafael Cordeiro, and then now we here at Kings MMA, we have a better partners, and also I have my team involved, in Singapore. We can always go there training, best Muay Thai guys in the world. And so I still doing that connection. Every twice a year, 3 times a year, I go to Singapore, I spend some time there. So it's been helping me a lot to be better every day. And that's my intention, be better every fight. And then since I moved here, so I start go often to Singapore too, start training harder, and I climb the division.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Coldair. Obviously, he's the head of Kings MMA. I reckon he very may possibly be the coach of the year. I mean, he's just done amazing things with a lot of fighters. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with him.
Yeah, Master Rafael Cordeiro is an amazing guy. He understands the fighters. And then the mix. I got a perfect team, and now the mix between Master Rafael Cordeiro and Master Roberto Gordo made a lot of difference for me, because Gordo knows everything about jiu-jitsu, and Master Cordeiro knows everything about MMA, Muay Thai, and but it's been great training with him. He has perfect eyes for fighter. He knows. If I look at you, he knows what is your mistakes. And so here with him, I have what I don't have in Brazil. I have someone over me, looking over me, try to correct my mistakes. And we are together 3 times a week. He's always over me, look at me and fixing my mistakes. I think that's why I've been improving a lot.
Sure. Now, moving on to your next fight, Rafael, you'll likely be fighting the winner of Khabib Nurmagomedov and Donald Cerrone. Who do you think wins the fight and why?
Man, I think it is a 50% fight, I'm going to tell the truth. Cerrone, I fought them both, so I lost for Khabib, but I beat Cerrone. But, man, Cerrone is a tough fight. I don't know how Khabib is gonna deal with Dodo. He's just coming back from a bad knee injury. He's out for a couple, almost a year, couple months, and maybe this can make a difference. But Cerrone, he's being active, and for sure it's gonna make a lot of difference for him. But I think it's a 50% fight. It can go either way.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting contest. Now, given that you previously lost to Khabib, would you say that that's the fight that you'd be more interested in, so you could avenge that loss next?
For sure, man. I don't wanna make any excuses, but I had a couple issues before Khabib's fight, but no excuses. He did a great job. He did a perfect strategy. He was able to help me down, and keep that pressure. I wasn't able to defend his takedown, but man, for sure, I'm a different fighter now. And at that time I was fighting with a lot of pressure, because I was thinking about my title shot, all those things. and I was under pressure. But man, for sure, the next fight will be different if he beats Cerrone. And I think, man, it's gonna be a different fighter. I'm a complete fight now. I got extra confidence, and I'm really think I got on the point. You know, now I'm a champion, and man, my spirit's alive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're on fire right now. For you, you mentioned that you had some issues before the Khabib fight. I'm just curious, what were some of those issues?
Yeah, I was training so hard to fight against Rustam Khabilov, which broke the hand 2 weeks before the fight. And man, I was on fire, like to fight in 2 weeks. The guy got hurt, and I don't know. I think and then my fight got rescheduled for 2 months later. And I think I overtrained a little bit. So I almost tear my ear off. My ear got stuck in the cage. I took 14 stitches behind the ear.
Wow.
And like I had I hurt my groin, you know, kind of thing, you know. At the day of the fight, I was 100% physically, but everything else happened during the camp, you know, and I think it's kind of make a difference. And for the fact to be 8 months without fighting, because between Cerrone's fight and Khabib's fight was 8 months, I think it make like a difference too, you know, for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge factor, and a lot of people wouldn't even be able to fight under those circumstances, so it's very respectable. You know, let's say you guys do have the rematch. How would you see the rematch playing out? What would the big difference to you be in this rematch?
Yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna do a different strategy. I'm gonna focus for sure on my wrestling, which is his main game. You know, he's gonna try to take me down and do the same thing, because I don't see all the way till he beat me, you know. And he's gonna do that game, wrestling game against the cage, play top game. I'm gonna make sure my submission attempts gonna be sharp, my wrestling defense sharp, and you know, looking for the knockout or submission, looking for the finish, you know, to clean the lot of my record.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it seems like all the choices for your next few fights are rematches. You've got Khabib Nurmagomedov, you got Donald Cerrone, you've got Anthony Pettis, and even Benson Henderson. All those guys are at the top of the division. You know, how do you feel about that? And is it a little bit boring for you knowing that you fought and beaten most of these guys already?
Yeah, man. So those guys are the top guys, top of the division, you know, and they are doing a good job, because, you know, they don't let anybody else come to the top. You know, every time that someone tries to come, they beat them, and the other guys going to the back of the line. And man, lightweight division, in my opinion, not just because I'm a champion, but in my opinion, the toughest division on the planet, man. It's the only division that if the challenge get hurt now, you can pick like 5 different guys that's gonna give him a hard time for the champion, for sure.
Now, Rafael, another guy who's recently been making a lot of waves is Conor McGregor. He's, of course, in the featherweight division, but he's always said that he plans on coming up to the lightweight division and challenging you for your title, possibly even taking it away from you. He also happens to be a fighter that you wouldn't have to rematch because you've never fought him before. From what you've seen of him so far, what did you think about those statements that he made about coming up and beating you for your title? And also, how do you think that matchup would play out between you and Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I think if you talk about Conor McGregor 1 year ago, nobody knows who is this. You know, I don't know who is Conor McGregor 1 year ago, and he's going to have a big test now against Aldo. And I think he's been talking a lot, but he have a big test, and I think he should take care of his business against Aldo, you know, which is it's gonna bring him a big problem. And after that, if he beats Aldo and if he wants to come to lightweight division, I will be more than happy to welcome him.
Well, the good thing about fighting Conor is that he sells fights a lot. You know, he really creates a huge buzz around himself and his opponents. You know, if he becomes champion, if he beats Jose Aldo, do you think that fighting Conor will be a good opportunity for you to, you know, make a lot of money and show that you can beat a huge star and also the champion of another division?
Yeah, for sure, man. It'll be great, you know. Let's sell this fight. It'll be good for both of us. And you know, and to get this guy, it'll be good. He's featherweight division champion if he becomes the champion, and I'm a lightweight champion. And why not? You know, let's make it happen if UFC want it. And I never pick fights, you know, in my whole life. So whatever UFC said, I'm up to.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously that could be one of the bigger fights the UFC could make. Now, we get a lot of fighters on the show, Rafael, and they talk about Conor McGregor in a lot of different ways. Obviously, he's an outspoken guy. He likes to do a lot of trash talk. What are your thoughts on him personality-wise? Are you a fan of the trash talk that he's been doing? Were you a fan of when he grabbed Aldo's belt away from him during that press conference and all the trash talk that he says? What do you think of him on a personal level?
Yeah, man. I think he's, in my opinion, he's selling the fight, but in my opinion, he's crossing the line, you know, and he cannot defend his opponent, and he does something that he's offending Aldo, you know. I think he's taking advantage because Aldo don't speak English, you know, and while Aldo's trying to say something, like he's saying a lot of things over it. You know, and he's taking kind of advantage of it. But man, you can sell the fight. You can use many ways to sell the fight, but don't be disrespectful, man. Don't disrespect your opponent because, man, he's a martial artist, you know. I learned this, and I'm an old school guy, you know. And the one thing that I give a lot of value is respect, man. If the guy step on the octagon, he's a man, you know. He has balls, you know, so you have to respect him.
Yeah, for sure. I've got one more question about Conor McGregor. You know, he said that he's very confident that he can beat you. In terms of the way you see the fight going, you know, do you think Conor McGregor is any threat at all to your title? And what sort of advantages do you see that you have against him in any fight?
Man, I don't know how this guy thinks that. he flatters himself too much. I don't see it any way. I can start the fight with him on my close guard. I can start on board, you know, whatever position he wants. There's no way he can beat me. I don't see like any way. He's a good fighter, but he needs to take care of the featherweight division first, man. Lightweight division, the shots have, you know. It better he stay on featherweight division.
Yeah, no, that's a very great point. Now, we've let the fans know that you're coming into the show, and we got a bunch of fan questions, but unfortunately, we don't have much time left, so we just picked a couple to ask you, okay, Rafael? So we got a couple of fan questions here. The first one comes from username King Ko Kong. He wants to know, how many hours a day do you train, and what's your daily meals and supplements routine like?
Yeah, like usually, like on fight camps, I train around 3-4 hours a day, and I don't like to do like long trainings, you know. I always do short practice, 45 minutes, 1 hour, you know. And so usually I do 7 to 8 meals a day, a lot of fish, no red meat, like red meat once a week, you know, and fish, brown rice, you know, quinoa, you know, a lot of good fats, avocado, nuts, and things like that.
Yeah, our diets are really similar. We had 3 pizzas last night, so you could almost say we have identical diets. Now, we've got another question from a gentleman by the name of Beer Lightweight. Beer Lightweight question is, just wanted RDA to know I'm a big fan. Recently, Bobby Green was on a radio station. He claimed he thought Rafael was using PEDs in his last fight. Just want to hear Rafael's opinion on Green and his comments.
Man, this guy, we spar couple weeks before the fight, you know, and I don't know if it was against Ben Henderson's fight, maybe his fight, something, but we spar, and he was so nice with me, like he was saying that he's a big fan of mine, and he was like so nice, you know. I thought he was a nice guy, and then when I heard that, I got surprised, and I don't know, man. Maybe I think because it's smashing him, maybe he's trying that and take something. But man, he's sparring against the champion. That's the man. That's the way the champion sparring, I am the champion, man. And if he was surprised with my pressure, with my power, that's why I'm a champion, man. But next time I'm not gonna take it easy on him because I spar with him 60%. Next time I'll go 100.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. It was it was a really rough comment by him. Now, we have a thing that we call the tap-out round, Rafael, to finish off the interview. Basically, we throw some fun questions at you, and you answer sort of with the first couple of things that come to your mind. It's like word association, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Where do you keep your title belt, and do you ever just wear it around the house? Like we had Bellator champion Brendan on, Halsey on before, and he said he likes to wear his belt. What did he say, Casper?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom. So what's the weirdest place you've worn your title belt, and where do you keep it?
Man, I keep it, man, like on the other day, it was on the floor of my room, but now it's on the side of my bed.
That's hilarious. Rafael, do you still train BJJ and Aggie leading up to fights?
Man, I love training BJJ. I'm sad because I still have my knee hurting. But I always, after fight, I love to train with Guida. I have a lot of fun.
Finish this sentence for us. People don't know that I...
I'm a Christian guy. I think many people know that. I just love to be with my family, and I just think about training and fight all day, man. I don't have many distractions on my life. I just think about fighting all day, 24/7.
Sure. Rafael, what's a movie that you could watch over and over again? What's one of your favorite movies?
Man, the one movie that made part of my life that helped me to become a fighter was Blood.
Which one?
Bloodsport.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, that's a classic. Now, Rafael, you're a man with lots of awesome tattoos. Just wondering if you had an opportunity to see Conor McGregor's new tiger tattoo, and what's your verdict on it?
Yeah, looks like I saw a picture. Looks like a cat.
Looks like a cat. Good. Yeah, it's definitely a type of cat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the tattoo either. Second last question is, Rafael, you've had a long career in MMA. What's your toughest fight so far?
Man, I think I had a lot of tough fights, and man, I fought with my broken ribs already, and I think when I fought a long time in Brazil. When I fought against Guida too, I broke my jaw on the first minute of the first fight, and I was able to win the first round. But man, my mouth was bleeding a lot. I was like sucking, my own blood, and it was tough. I fought all the way into the third round. It was really hard.
Now, Rafael, as you know, a lot of people refer to you by the nickname RDA because you got a cool name, but some people have issues with pronouncing it. But here at Submission Radio, we got our marketing team to come up with 3 alternative nicknames that you could potentially use in the future. So we want you to choose your favorite one out of these 3 options, okay?
Okay.
Okay, the first one is called the Rio de Janeiro Handyman. For this one, you come out to the ring with a sack full of loose screws and tools to the ring. You fix things along the way before you get to the ring, and then you give your opponent a KO fixing later in the night, okay? So that's option number 1, the Rio de Janeiro Handyman, okay? Option number 2.
Great.
Okay, option number 2. Keep your judgment until you hear all of them. Option number 2, RDA, Razor Death Angel. For this one, you have to glide from the rafters with smoke and fireworks going off in the background while a choir sings in the background, okay? So option number 2, Razor Death Angel, okay? RDA Razor. And finally, okay, and this, I don't know if this is going to be your favorite one or not, but I got to tell you this one. Finally is Purple Rain, okay? So your nickname would be Purple Rain. You come out in a purple velvet robe. Purple Rain is playing in the background. You have to grow a mustache and an afro, and as you walk to the ring, women will rush to the barricades only to be held off by security guards. When you get to the octagon, glitter comes down from the rafters. It's magical, captivating, and your opponent is so impressed he verbally submits and bows down to the master of the octagon, the man formerly known as Rafael Dos Anjos, Purple Rain. Which one do you choose?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm between the number 1, number 2, but I'm gonna be with the number 1 because I'm from Rio de Janeiro and man, I can handle things just to get the mission. I'm gonna try to do my best to make it accomplished.
The Rio de Janeiro handyman. All right, well, also Rio de Janeiro handyman. Well, we'll tell Bruce Buffer and we'll get it all sorted for you. Don't worry, Rafael. The final question before we let you go. There's a big card here in Melbourne in November. Tom Wright has said that it may have 1 or maybe 2 title fights. Is there any chance that we could potentially see Rafael Dos Anjos fighting in front of his Aussie fans?
Where is it? Where will it be?
November.
UFC 193. It might be in a big stadium called Etihad Stadium here in Melbourne.
Well, I mean, it would be great. I never been in Australia. I would love to be there one day now. I think it's the only place in the world that I never been.
Well, there you go. You definitely got to come, and obviously we'd love to have you here. Don't forget, guys, don't forget to follow Rafael on Twitter at @RDosAnjos MMA, RDOSANJOS MMA. Rafael, it's been an absolute pleasure and honor chatting with you, champ. Good luck, whoever you fight next, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you for having me. All the best.